YouTube, what the crap's going on? Not historical battles, that's what. Actually going to bring you some more online battles from Total War Rome 2. And this one's actually against the same opponent that you saw last time, when I played him as Syracuse versus Carthage. This is an Armenia versus Parthia battle. So two very similar factions actually here, each having, I guess, maybe certain tools or advantages, but very similar in the end. As far as units and availability and probably strategies that you would see implemented. Though I would say that Armenia has some excellent axemen. Parthia is probably going to have more useful spearmen, maybe? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, the noble spearmen are pretty good. It's just that they're quite expensive. Check this out. Rome 2 and hills everywhere and tree cover. I mean, this actually really reminds me of a map on Shogun 2. Except there was like a dojo here and then another one over here. Really reminds me, I don't know what the name of that map was, and it wasn't desert, of course, because it was in Japan, but very reminiscent of that for me. Of course, we don't have to worry about like a line of fire or anything else like that on this particular map. I'm trying to rush to the top of the hill, of course, which I'm assuming my opponent's probably doing as well. Not sure what to expect from Armenia here, but I'm expecting a similar type build. I did not bring horse archers as Parthia either. I brought all foot archers, and then over here I make an early mistake. And I'm not paying attention to my Median Cav, and they get slammed into by his Royal Cataphracts, which was quite bad for me. How do you like this vegetation view? Sorry, I was looking down at something, didn't realize I was giving you a view of the local plant life there. Yeah, like a botanical tour or something. Sorry, yeah, so my Median Cav gets hammered. Gotta pull away, but I'm gonna run away from his Royal Cataphracts. They're probably slower than my men. And you can see that Cataphracts actually get tired fairly easy too. And I've got, so, all in all, 4 Eastern Cataphracts, 4 Median Cav, 1 Royal Cataphract. I have 3 Persian Hoplites and 3 Eastern Spearmen, backed up by 6 Parthian Foot Archers. Sorry, 5 Parthian Foot Archers. Parthian Foot Archers are now, I think, worth their money because they have 40 attack, as opposed to Eastern Archers having had their attack nerfed down. I think kind of make the cost difference worth it. So Parthia, having that strong Foot Archer now, they don't have an armored archer. They have access to Persian elite archers, but they don't have extra armor. So just something to be aware of there. So yeah, I've got my my cavalry kind of up on top of this hill. My opponent wouldn't want to come up here and fight me, even with his cataphracts, because if they don't get a good charge, which they wouldn't, coming up an incline like this, it's not a fight they'd want. So I'm going to keep my guys kind of hidden down in this little depression area to keep them hidden from the enemy and kind of have him always guessing where it's going to come from. So we end up in kind of an early standoff. My opponent's troops are right through here in the woods, and then I've got my guys kind of along this ridge line. There's a little bit of semi-flat ground in between us, but neither one of us seems real intent on attacking from a position that might leave us in a bad spot. And my opponent has 4 Royal Cataphracts that I can see, so he's spent a considerable sum there. And then he's got horse archers here. And those horse archers are being chased back by my Parthian foot archers, who have plenty of firepower to handle them. Upon seeing the terrain on this map, that was part of the decision for me to not bring horse archers. I just didn't think that it was the best terrain, so I wanted to stick with foot archers. Yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot else from the Armenian player, but you can guess that if he has 4 Eastern Cataphracts, I mean that's about 5,600 talents worth of units right there. So that's a considerable portion of his army from a fun standpoint. So his infantry is probably not going to be too powerful. He's brought some Persian hoplites of his own. Parthia does have access, I think, to mercenary hoplites as well. But then again, Armenia probably does too. Armenia might have an infantry edge, but Parthia does have Parthian swordsmen. I don't know how those stack up against the axemen. Kind of hard to say. Again, these two factions are very similar. My opponent does have Eastern Archers, only 4 of them. And I'm going to go ahead and push forward just a little bit here. His Eastern Archers, though, do have an excellent firing position. They're in cover, and they can fire up and over the hill at my men. So I'm actually going to reposition here to try and change my opponent's positioning. So I'm going to move, and I'm going to position here all along this ridgeline. My opponent brings his horse archers up for some shots, but you see actually both of his units don't have a single kill yet. The cover and then all the other stuff, again, this is the reason why I didn't bring horse archers. It's going to actually be hard to make them work. And then I pulled these guys back to this ridgeline, which I can use as a defense against the charge of these Royal Cataphracts. And I'm assuming that my opponent is probably changing his positioning through here too. He'll probably line up something more like this. So effectively, I feel like I have, I've kind of won a small battle here by controlling this region. My opponent's cavalry here, he's not able to get up through here because I'll pin him here. And he doesn't want to attack uphill because then my Eastern Cataphracts can counter him. So these Cataphracts are kind of zoned out for the time being, at least. Doesn't mean they're going to be worthless here, but I just have them zoned out fairly well. And then kind of the same story, but not exactly over here. I'm still very much afraid of his 2 Eastern Cataphracts because they're near spear and archer support. I was kind of curious whether his guys were going to be in range of my Median Cav, but they are not, these Eastern archers. So this kind of turns into a stalemate here for a while, and my opponent and I keep trying different things to kind of feel like we have an advantage. I haven't really seen his troops very well, and so it makes me very hesitant to attack him in an infantry engagement, because I feel like I'm going to lose the cavalry fight if I'm not careful. So here he's going to try and get some shots at my Cataphracts. Not a bad plan at all. Definitely a worthy target of his missile fire. And I'm not going to keep chasing his horse archers. I was going to see if I could get a good downhill charge on these Cataphracts, but it looks like I will not. So I'm going to pull back out of here. Still no kills for his horse archers, and they've shot a considerable number of volleys. So the stalemate kind of continues for the moment, and again I'm going to keep my Median Cav on this hill, because keeping it on that hill will keep him safe from his Cataphracts. So again, really want to keep my foot skirmishers alive here, just in case I need them to help mop up horse archers in late game. Just a lot of things going on. So what I decided to do, if we take a look at the overhead, you can kind of see the whole map. I decided to take these guys out here wide. That draws the attention of his Royal Cataphracts. I'm going to then try and swing my Eastern Cataphracts in from behind and get a good charge after he's already wasted his. So basically I'm creating a smaller battle out here. And my opponent is running Persian hoplites though, but you can see how far away I've lured his Eastern Cataphracts, and now he realizes it, and he's going to start trying to pull out of here. So yeah, you can kind of just see me just trying to lure my opponent into an engagement he doesn't want, but unfortunately for me his Persian hoplites are too close. But it's at this point when I decide, to heck with it, I'm going to attack. And I had a plan. So I've been preaching a lot recently about not getting your cav tied up in a pointless flank fight. So again, here see me doing some feints and stuff, and I'm going to countercharge his Royal Cataphracts and just kind of keep them busy. Over here, he's going to catch me on a charge, unfortunately, and I shouldn't have used Trample here, because now my men didn't get a good charge and they're going to be exhausted. And so let's kind of go into slow motion for a minute so you can kind of see what's going on. Again, I'm just keeping his men at bay, so check out what I've done here. I've kept 1 Royal Cataphract here. I've kept these 2 Median Cav in striking position, so again, this keeps these forces in check. And then that's going to allow me to take this Cataphract unit and swing up and around for some hammer and anvil blows on his infantry, which should allow me to quickly knock out his infantry. It looks like he's just got a line of Persian hoplites. Now his infantry is better than mine because some of my infantry is Eastern spearmen. But again, see my general here? This is my only Royal Cataphract. I've kind of taken this engagement, and I'm going to go over here and try and charge in. So his general's already wasted his charge and started fighting. He's doing very well though, 68 kills. And then here I'm going to get a potential rear charge set up on all these spearmen and Royal Cataphracts as well. So it is slightly uphill. It's not going to be the best charge. And then the infantry charge is just kind of continuing over here. The forest is giving me some nice cover. And again, see how my Cataphract here can kind of just keep these guys at bay. And then I've got my Median Cav moved up here for the same reason. And then this Cataphract is supporting my infantry. So essentially I'm going to start an infantry fight where I have Cataphract support and my opponent does not. That's kind of my idea. So I bring in a very nice rear charge here. Let's see what stacks up for this unit. Yeah. Picked up 14 kills against those Royal Cataphracts. It's a nice charge, but those spearmen are nearby. That's going to be a rough fight for me. But then my general got a decent charge against his Royal Cataphracts as well. Though in a Royal Cataphract fight, that's a fight that's going to go on for quite some time. So again, you can see me here, just going to keep him zoned out with all this cav so that he can't attack this flank or go after my archers. His Eastern archers are actually doing a decent job. But again, check out, I've got a Cataphract unit already lined up here. So you're not going to miss much. These fights just kind of continue over here. So let's follow this cataphract into battle. So again, you can see me getting it lined up for a rear charge. The terrain is not ideal for a cataphract charge, and you can see his archers are on they're on skirmish, but this still should work. So here we go. Get a nice rear charge with my cataphracts. It is uphill, but these are fairly light infantry. Ah, look, there's a bug on the terrain right there. Sweet. Yep. So I get a really nice rear charge. It's going to demoralize those Eastern archers and his Persian hoplites. Look at the kills on these Eastern cataphracts. Just look at that from that single charge. Just devastating. So the reason why this was devastating, it was partly uphill, but it was a clean charge against fairly light units. And here I'm going to bring in another cataphract. I disengaged and I'm going to charge these Kartli axemen since they're not braced. And that cataphract charge just absolutely obliterates the morale of almost all of the Armenian line. So now I actually have a bunch of spearmen free, and I've managed to pin his cataphracts in an inferior position over here. Now, against his general, my general is winning finally. His general is probably exhausted or getting tired. Mine's even more tired than his. That's interesting. He managed to keep his general from getting too tired, which is good, but mine's winning the fight. But his Persian hoplites and his other royal cataphract are free, so my general's probably going to die. But that's kind of a moot point by now, because my archers are pretty much free to roam. His cav is pinned, his infantry's dying. I've got rear charges coming in from my own Persian hoplites here, and then my cataphracts are running amok all over everything else that he has on this hill. So I've chased off all the rest of his routing units so they can't come back. And he did win this one fight against my Eastern spearmen with these Persian hoplites, but the rest of his infantry's gone, and my archers are now unloading on those guys as well. Rear charge into the Kartli axemen. This is one of the best infantry units that he had, and it's not going to be able to do much. It was getting kills relatively quick against these Eastern spearmen, but after a rear charge from the cataphracts, it's going to collapse. So yeah, that was his best infantry unit there. Here comes a nice downhill charge into these Persian hoplites. So it's going to actually be pretty devastating, and these cataphracts jump their kills up even more. So we're going to jump far over 250 there. So the cataphract in a rear charge is just an absolute devastating unit. Like, you may have to cycle charge with a lot of shot cav, but you probably won't with the cataphract if you get a clean charge. My general actually manages to tank out this fight as well. Because of the army losses, a lot of the Armenian troops fled the battlefield. So my general really clutching it out over here against overwhelming odds. And then the last troops that he has are these royal cataphracts here, which are very good units. They were holding out for a long time. I'm going to get another downhill charge into them as well, and they're going to rout. So good game to my opponent. Interesting terrain, and it was kind of a mirror matchup actually, just with Armenia and Parthia. So interesting. You don't always fight on maps like that, it seems like. We actually had almost the exact same number of men as well. In the end, he had a little more infantry than me. Like, he did have an infantry advantage, but you see how this unit right here just crushed an entire flank of his infantry and took quite a few of his archers with it. So this cataphract right here, definitely the MVP out of that battle. Hope you all enjoyed this one. I will be back with more action for you soon. HeirofCarthage, signing off.